guys, Sean Clear with Vital MX, and today we're here with Benny, the marketing manager at Bell Helmets. Finally, we got a chance to get our hands on a Bell Moto-10 Spherical. So obviously we've all seen this helmet on Webb and Tomac and all these guys for a while. Now we get to ride in it, but before we hit the track, Benny's going to run through some of the specifics that make this helmet very different than pretty much every other helmet out there.
Yes, yeah, very different. The two biggest features, like that I would say that are just completely different, like no helmet's ever been made before, is the shell, because it's actually made out of two pieces that are mechanically bonded via some technology that we borrowed from aerospace, patent pending, and then would be the impact liner, which is a proprietary technology of ours called Spherical that we also partnered with MIPS on to help and developed in-house.
So, I mean, like you said, there's two sections of this helmet. You could see where the line where they meet, and then that whole section is basically a giant exhaust port.
So like right off the bat, I just want to say like the motivation behind this helmet was to solve the issues of these fastest, most talented riders in the world, right? And really we knew when we wanted to replace or the predecessor to the Moto-9, which this is its 10-year anniversary since the original Moto-9 came out, was to solve the problems of these that these athletes have, and one of them is ventilation, right? And we really wiped the board clean and started fresh and tried to look at what ventilation is and how to actually define it in a performance way, right? And we found that that adding more, like a lot of our competitors talk about, is how many intake vents they have in the helmet, or basically holes in the front of the helmet. And we found that was largely ineffective or made very little difference in the actual cooling of the helmet. Some of our competitors have very large holes in the front, but don't effectively like give a cooling or drying effect when you're riding. So this is all an exhaust vent.
Right.
So now we have a massive exhaust vent. We actually have less holes on the outside of the helmet, simplifying this structure, allowing us to add more flexibility, more impact absorption and simplicity to the shell. But now we're evacuating a massive amount of air out of the helmet. So now we're making use of the vents that we have in the front.
Another thing is the I don't remember what it's called, the little collarbone bumpers there.
Yeah, so we call them NMR bumpers, so no missed races bumpers. This is also speaks a lot to like solving the issues of these like high-end athletes, and this is our protection beyond just head, right? And that was the challenge for this helmet, was like, how can we add more performance advantage to it? And like it's not that a broken collarbone is life-threatening injury like a head injury can be, but it is an injury that takes you effectively like out of the championship.
Yeah, and I got to mention some of the features from the Bell Moto-9 that I really like is the magnetic cheek pads, and I'm really happy that they passed over. It just shows that you guys are thinking about all aspects of the helmet, not just making it look cool. So last question is basically, I know that this was a limited release. There was 1,000 worldwide. Those have sold out in 2 hours or 2.5 hours or whenever they went up. So obviously people are interested in getting this helmet. Yeah. When is the next release, and are there, going to be other colorways, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have another release coming this summer. That's more like a traditional release for us, where there will be multiple colorways, a lot of exciting stuff, some collabs. And then we actually have plans in the next year to continue releasing some really cool collab stuff that I can't talk about quite yet. But we have our partners with Fast House, we have athlete replicas coming out, we have a whole bunch of stuff in the pipeline.
Awesome. All right, Ping's here too, and me and him are going to go spend some time in the helmet, spend some laps, and thanks for your time, Benny.
Yeah, of course.
We got the lowdown on the features of this helmet. We both rode in it today, and luckily neither of us crashed, so we're not going to talk about all the protection in here, but obviously we tell you how it fit, how it felt. What'd you think, Ping?
So, kind of what they mentioned to me when we first got here was that one of the concepts is to have those cheek pads kind of wrap around, kind of like a road race helmet, and sort of hold the front of your face, which makes a lot of sense in theory. And when I put it on, it does feel like he's kind of squishing your lips like this a little bit. But you get out on the track, and just like a boots or a shoe or anything, once it warms up and you start sweating a little bit, then it fits fine to your face. It didn't feel too tight or too snug, and it felt very secure. And so I did like that, because some helmets you jump in and you can slide the face bar all the way to have it touch your chin, and I mean, that right there should tell you, if you go down face first, you're going to have that chin bar all up in your grill. So I like that. The ventilation, I could feel a little bit. It was kind of tough today just because it's so cold. I think on a warmer day, you'd feel that breeze coming across your sweat and feel it more. I like the concept and the design of it. And, one thing I asked him, because I'm having been involved in some helmet design, I know that EPS is still the best material for absorbing energy. And so I said, did you guys add EPS anywhere? He says, yeah, across the front here and in the back and on the chin bar, we did add and try to increase it. So to me, that's always a positive. Anytime you can add more EPS, it's a safer helmet.
Yeah, and I have been a huge fan of the Moto-9 for quite some time. One of my go-to helmets. Really fits my head really well. The right shape. It's not too oval or too kind of round. It's kind of that mid-European, I guess they call, fit. So if you're in a Bell Moto-9, the Moto-10 fits nearly identical to that.
Another thing they mentioned was they really tried to widen up the goggle port as much as possible, and also kind of taper in where the goggle comes in here to let it seal to your face. I have an issue with that. A lot of these new goggles are coming out super big. It looks like basically a snowboard goggle, and they're just copy and pasting it into the moto world. And those, I have a hard time getting them to seal, a lot of them to seal against my face tight. And then I'll get dust and dirt inside my goggles. So I like that they addressed it. They made this as wide as you could possibly make it and still pass the testing. And, they addressed it. They got those kind of the taper in of the goggle. And I also love the magnetic features on this. If you've had a 9, you'll know the cheek pads are magnetic, pop right in and out. The chin strap, once you tie it, just magnetically just connects right here. I love it. It's so much better than trying to find a clip or whatever, Very cool design.
So other than that, obviously, we're going to keep riding in these. Like Benny said at the beginning, I think around summertime, they're going to have another drop, another batch of these coming out. So if you're interested, because right now they're sold out, if you're interested, look out for those and get your hands on them. They're not cheap, so start saving money now. $850 at least for these. We'll see what those come in at. Should be probably the same. So if you're on ViloMX.com, check out our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, go to ViloMX.com, and thanks for watching.